We currently find ourselves in a period known as the 3 weeks. A very serious time, obviously, leading up to Tisha B'Av, to the 9 days, and then Tisha B'Av. And we take certain restrictions upon ourselves just to get us into that mindset of recognizing where we are, Bein HaMitzarim. It's a difficult time. It's a sad time, especially Tisha B'Av. But I want to shed light through the lens of Yavod Yisrael, the Kushas Magid Zechus Yagin Aleinu, who really gives us a different perspective, a totally different perspective on our avodah of the 3 weeks, of the 9 days, of what it is exactly that we should be doing. You know, I find, from my personal experience and from the people that I've spoken to, when it comes to focusing on Yiras Hashem and developing a fear of God, a fear of what we may do wrong in our performance of Torah or mitzvahs versus simcha and ahava. So it's very easy when one is constantly berated with inyanim of yira, of fearing Hashem, of not being able to do anything wrong, that if you make a mistake, then everything is done, then you're done. So such a mindset can obviously, as is readily understood, drive a person into terrible atzvas, into sadness, into a depression, into a feeling of, might as well just give up. I'm obviously not in the right place. I haven't been doing the right things. It's very easy when one is focused on that mindset and that reality to sort of lose sight of all the positive, of all the good. On the other hand, when a person's only involved in simcha and ahava and refuses to recognize all the mistakes that they make, so obviously being in that perspective can lead a person to become lax in their avodah, in their kiyum of Torah and mitzvahs. So you have to have a balance. There always has to be a balance. Obviously, there has to be a balance. But it's very difficult for people who are faced with difficult times or faced with difficult circumstances or an environment which is not conducive to Kedusha. It's very hard for people to maintain a recognition of who they are, of how special they are, of how, regardless of their mistakes or their surroundings or their experiences, the neshama remains pure, untainted. The Avodah Yisrael, the Kushas Magid, explains, he quotes from the Mizrach Magid, Zechus Yagin Aleinu. He explains that Parshas Maseh always falls around the time of Bein HaMitzarim. It's always read within Bein HaMitzarim, within the 3 weeks. And he explains that, as we know, Rashi writes that the 3 weeks are 21 days and 21 nights, which together, if you add that up, equals 42. And he explains from the Magid that the Masa'os, that the journeys that Klal Yisrael had while they were in Mitzrayim, which are delineated in this week's parsha, in the beginning of this week's parsha, or the second parsha of this week's double parsha. So these journeys were in order that Am Yisrael could infuse Kedusha into the places that they went. That each stop along the road, along the path to Eretz Yisrael, they left behind an imprint, an eternal imprint of Kedusha. And he explains that this tikkun, this fixing, this rectification that took place through their journeys in the Midbar is reflected in the 3 weeks. The 3 weeks is a time of tikkun. It's a time of destruction, for sure. There was a lot of destruction. But for us now, obviously our avodah now is not to just dwell on the past and what went wrong, but work towards fixing, being masakin, fixing, moving forward. And he explains that everything, their journeys in the Midbar and our journey now, is to fix, to rectify our relationship with the Master of the universe. And he gives an incredible, life-changing mashal. He explains that if you have a king and he's having a party and there's musicians and there's singers and there's dancers and they're all there to make the king happy. And the king's already in a good mood. Even before he had this whole lavish party, he was in a great mood. He had a great day. Everything went well. There were no problems. And he's just simchadek already. He comes into this party, he's already simchadek. He's already in a state of simcha. So at that point, even without the musicians, without the singers, the people who are dancing or are making him laugh, even without all those people, he's besimcha. He's already happy. It might be nice, it's a nice accompaniment, it's a nice experience, it's a nice environment, but the essence of his simcha, the essence of his happiness is not because of the people that he's currently surrounded by. On the other hand, if such a king, or if a king were to have a difficult day, and he was maybe not so happy, and it was a rough time, and he was feeling pretty sad, so it would be the job of these musicians or these singers to be misameach him, to make him feel better, to make him happy, to bring back joy into his life, into his day. And he explains that kiviyachol, this is our relationship with Hashem. He says like this: Shebevadai misharsav barakia manimim loy umakalsim shemai. For sure, Hashem has malachim and shemayim who are singing to him every single day. They're singing to him, praising him. But he says, Rak bezman shebeis hamikdash charev. But now in our times, when the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed, yesh etzev bevatei b'roi. So obviously there is a palpable sadness in the air kiviyachol by Hashem. And he explains this: tzrichim mi'asher Hashem b'liboy l'sichazek v'lichnois al batei gavoy v'lahavshid atzma mikol minei atzvos l'sameach kavod hamelech. It's dafka during that time where it's our responsibility to be misameach Hashem. Or it's our responsibility, all of us who seek and yearn in whatever way that we can to be close to Hashem, to ignite our relationship with Hashem, to be misameach Him, through us being besimcha, through us bringing joy to Him, through serving Him, and through saying, I'm going to change. I know that maybe things haven't been where they're supposed to be, but I'm going to make a change. And la'at, small steps, little by little, in the right way. So obviously, the 3 weeks is a time of reflection. We all know that. And we're all supposed to have, to a certain extent, a feeling of charat or of sadness. Not a sadness that leads to a depression or a dwelling on the past, but a sadness of a recognition that things went wrong and things didn't go how they were supposed to. But our job now is not merely to just dwell on the past and be sad or force tears, but just the opposite. To recognize that we made mistakes, to recognize that we've done wrong, and that maybe right now we're not doing 100% what we're supposed to be doing. But that regardless, we're going to make the effort, no matter how small, to change, to take the steps towards doing what we know that we have to do, to take those steps to strengthen our bond with the Master of the world. Hashem should give each and every one of us the strength and clarity of mind to recognize that it's dafka within those times of difficulty that we have the ability to make our relationship with Hashem so much stronger. The Chidush Yarim famously said on the pasuk in Eicha, which is where the name of Bein HaMitzarim comes from, Kol Reidfeh Hisigua Bein HaMitzarim, which means all those who chased her, captured her in between the straits, between Shivasar B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. But the Chidush Yarim read the pasuk as follows: Kol Reidfeh, all those who chase after Hashem, Hisigua Bein HaMitzarim, were able to grasp Him, to strengthen that relationship with Him. Dafka now Bein HaMitzarim, between the 3 weeks. Anyone who's ever had a relationship in any capacity with a relative, with a spouse, with a child, knows that it's through the difficult times in a relationship that your relationship is strengthened. So, Mirz Hashem, we should all have the clarity of mind and the recognition that regardless of what may have been or what may currently be, that we have the ability and the opportunity to be Misameach, the Master of the world, to bring joy to the Creator of the universe, to strengthen our bond with Him, and then Mirz Hashem, through that, to be Zeicha, to experience the building of the third and final Beis HaMikdash, B'Bios Kol Tzedek V'Meher V'Meinu Amen.